G'day, Steeler Nation. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. I'm your host, and I'm joined by my co-host, Britsburgh, Owen. Owen, welcome to the show. What's happening in 2 days' time?
There's some football, apparently. I don't know who's playing there. Who's playing, Mark?
I think it's the Steelers versus Seahawks, a Super Bowl rematch from Super Bowl 40.
Oh, yeah. Steelers Sea Chickens.
Yeah, the old Sea Chickens. We got Daredevil here in the live chat. I think Daredevil is just pretty much waiting for us to go live.
You know what? I've noticed this because, like, on another podcast platform, he's always first on as well.
Yeah.
Daredevil, do you just sit permanently on YouTube and just wait?
You know what Daredevil was doing, because I think that might be his photo there with the
it is his
photo.
Dude. I asked him.
He's just working out at the gym, just waiting at his home gym, and just like, oh, they're ready to go. He's just doing like squats and bench presses, and next time when he sees any Pittsburgh, it could be anyone, could be Here We Go show, Stay the Steelers, Behind the Steel Curtain, anyone, right? And once he sees them go live, I'm in.
Yeah. It's like the Rock Devil.
See, I knew it. You guys always start during my workouts. I knew it. You're near a bench press somewhere or whatever. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. But it's good to have Daredevil. A lot of guys are coming to the live chat too. It's quite busy today because we have the NFL starting. So the preseason, what is it? It's your American Thursday, my Friday morning. We have the preseason. We are going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers versus Seattle Seahawks in a preseason game. Yes, it's meaningless. However, I think this year is different. Owen, is this year not different with the Steelers and the whole offseason? We talked about Omar Khan, the additions last week. This, to me, feels different, right? In previous years, you had like Big Ben, and you're like, oh, sure, Ben won't play. This year, we have quarterbacks who we need to find out who's going to be the starter. And apparently, Mike Tomlin has announced who the starter is, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's very much different to like the last, since 2000. The last time it was different was 2004, Ben's first year, when Ben was meant to be third string, and it was Tommy Maddox, Charlie Batch, and then Ben Roethlisberger. But obviously, since the last 18 years, we've always known that Ben will play week 1. Ben won't play in preseason until probably about week 2-3. Just that's the way it's always been. But yeah, it is very different. But it's not just the quarterbacks. There were so many questions to answer, I think, in this preseason for the whole team. So you've got the whole inside linebacker. Who's going to be the pair at inside linebacker? You've got the whole who's going to be RB2. Because obviously the likelihood from what Coach Tomlin was saying today in his press conference is that Najee Harris won't play on Saturday. So who's going to step up and be the RB2? The wide receivers. Who's going to be in the wide receiver room, because there's so much talent there. There was so many questions going, and good questions. That's the main thing. Good questions going into this new season, Mark.
Oh, it's fantastic. I've got a few good questions for you too, but let's start there at the very beginning, which is quarterback, right? So quarterback play, we know now that Mitchell Trubisky will be the starter. I believe Tomlin said it's going to be Mason Rudolph is next, correct? In the second portion. I believe he even broke it down into quarters. I can't remember what he said exactly, but he broke it down into quarters.
He said, if I've got this right, that the first quarter will be played by the first group, the first team, basically. The second group will play the second quarter, and then a combination of the second and third group will play the third quarter, and then the third team will play the fourth quarter. That's if I'm right. But he did say that it would depend on the players and which players need more reps. So some players may need more reps, apparently.
So pretty much as well, Tomlin has an idea, but he's going to change it whenever he wants to, because that's just the way Tomlin does things.
Yeah, he did say in his press conference that he has a template, a framework to how to use the personnel in this game, but obviously that could change depending on practice today and also depending on what he actually sees come game time on Saturday.
Do you think Mike Tomlin enjoys messing with the media?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, there was the whole question about someone said something about this food thing. Have you heard about this food thing?
No.
So apparently he's got the defense and the offensive lines on some sort of reward, so they get better food depending on who plays better. But when the media asked him, he said, I couldn't possibly comment or I couldn't possibly talk about that or something like that. That's what he said.
Yeah, I think he's a very he's a wordsmith. We all know that he could excel at Toastmasters. You know, the international speaking or public speaking. He definitely excel at that. He's a leader of men. He is the Pittsburgh Steelers coach, whether you like him or not. He's a winner. Deal with it. But I like the way how he treats the media. And look, a lot of those words is just maybe it's a bit of a falafel, not really saying too much. But I still love it. I really like listening to his press conferences because it's almost like a trans state in a podcast. You're like, okay, you hear what you need to hear, but there are a lot of, Tomlinisms in there. So pretty much he's saying, well, Trubisky's going to start, right? So with Trubisky starting, what are your thoughts on that? Like, I'm actually pretty excited to see Trubisky go out there. It's the first time in real football, I guess, that because he's a brand new player to the Steelers. We often forget that. We talked about Trubisky all the time, but in reality, he's a brand new player with the Steelers. He's going out there to wear black and gold. The only player that's on the roster at quarterback is Mason Rudolph, but he's brand new. What are your expectations for Trubisky in this game? What would you be happy seeing?
I'm really just genuinely going to echo what Mike Tomlin said, which was to move the offense up and down the field easily, to not stall like we did so many times last year, 3 and out, and to not lose the ball. But ball security, that is all you need to see in preseason. You're not going to see a full range of the playbook. That's not what teams do in the preseason. It's very vanilla. It's very, very, very bland because they don't want to give away too much going into the season. So as long as Mitch can move the team and he starts to develop an understanding with his receivers and his running backs and his line, that's what you're going to want to see. In the same, for when the reindeer comes in the second quarter, and then obviously when Kenny Pickett plays as well. But that for me is the biggest one I'm really interested to see, is actually see Kenny Pickett for the first time in front of an NFL line with an NFL defense trying to stop him in an NFL pocket with NFL receivers. And that's going to be a big thing for me, is seeing where Pickett's at this moment in time.
Yeah, I think the anticipation is kind of real, right? It's kind of like it is definitely a new era. And I'll put my hand up right away. Like, I do enjoy doing these podcasts, and I'm so happy I can do this to let all my Steeler stuff off my chest and start talking about Trubisky, because we get to follow Trubisky now, maybe into 2 years, 3 years, depending what happens. But we do have Kenny Pickett there, who's going to throw a football and go into Heinz Field or Acrisure Stadium. And he's played there before with the Panthers. Now he plays there with an NFL offense, and he's a rookie. But let's move into your thoughts. We'll keep going through the quarterback because we could spend a while on a quarterback, and it is quite fun because it's the most important, position of the offense. So with the quarterback room, Trubisky starts. For me, I just want to see him. I'd be happy with like 8 for 10 and get a good few plays, maybe a TD. If I don't get a touchdown, I'm not too worried, right? But what are your thoughts about Rudolph coming in, and does he need to play well to keep the hype up? And if he struggles, well, is fans like myself going, well, we hyped him up and now it doesn't mean anything?
I think we just need to see him fit into the system in terms of not being a reproduction of Ben from last year. I think that's the fear that a number of analysts who've watched Steelers practice have said. I listened to Chris Carter talk about him the other day, and Chris is someone I respect massively with what he takes on the Steelers. And he was saying that whilst Mason has done very well, and he's not looking to talk down Mason. He said that Mason is very much a quick release kind of guy. He is very much running a very similar offense that we saw last season. So what I want to see is Mason stepping up to that next level, taking on a stage further and not just reproducing what we saw last year. See him rolling out, to see him being mobile in terms of extending plays so that the receivers can get further downfield, not just so that he can run with the ball, which is obviously adding a little bit more than Ben did. But that's what I really want to see from Rudolph when he comes in on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see if he can keep the level of hype up. So if Rudolph can keep the level of hype up and go out there and be competent, I think he will be on track to maybe get that backup job. And I would be, of course, if Trubisky excels, QB1, 100%. And then if Mason does his job, well, then it's QB2. Then we have like a really good quarterback room. And what do you say to that? But what are your thoughts overall? We'll finish it off because we have Kenny Pickett. And what are your overall thoughts on Kenny Pickett?
I think Pickett is growing and he's getting used to NFL. You know, that's the biggest thing I've heard, not just from Chris Carter, who again was talking about him today on Locked On. He was talking about very much about how Pickett had himself a day the other day yesterday, and he's seeing him really grow into the role. He apparently threw a 40-yard bomb down the field to George Pickens in the pouring rain. He's easing in and he's getting better. And I know everyone said, oh, he's the most pro-ready. He's 24 years old. He's going to be 25 years old during this season. But you can't say that a college quarterback is pro-ready, because at the end of the day, the level, college football is what there. The NFL is somewhere up here, because college football, and the ACC, which Pitt play in, is one of the weaker conferences. You don't face the caliber of players week in, week out you're going to face in the NFL. In the NFL, you are facing the world's best, the elite, the best. And that's how Pickett's going to step it up. And what I want to see and what I'm hoping to see is that continual growth of Kenny Pickett into becoming an NFL quarterback. And I'm not looking at him being the next Ben Roethlisberger. That's not going to happen. We're not going to, and I think that's Steeler Nation. That's something we really need to realize. We're not going to get another Ben Roethlisberger. He's unique. He's a one-off. The same way when that bloke in Tampa Bay finally retires, I don't want to say his name.
Never. He's never
when
he
finally decides that he is old. You're not going to ever get another one of him, and you're not going to ever get another Aaron Rodgers. It just isn't possible. It's as long as Pickett can play up to a level where he can take over and be a franchise quarterback and be a good franchise quarterback.
Man, if I was a quarterback in the Bucs, I'd be like, go home, Brady. Go home. Sick of seeing you, you know? Like,
he's off until the 20th of August now, apparently for personal reasons.
Yeah, because he's allowed to, because he's the GOAT. Anyways, okay. So my view on Kenny Pickett, I would say, I'm not too worried. Like, I'll put it this way. I'm not too worried if Kenny Pickett struggles. I'm really not. Because there's a lot of hype around Kenny Pickett. And I don't think we should even to a certain extent, I don't think we should get overzealous if he goes out there and bowls out and gets like 2 TDs or whatever, because they're probably going to have, a few drives each. And also it depends. You know what's kind of funny about this whole preseason thing too, Owen? It actually depends where the offense starts. There could be an opportunity where you might send out Mason Rudolph at the 10-yard line because the Seahawks did a good punt and they backed you up. There could be a very good opportunity that you get a return back for a punt return, whoever that may be. If it is Austin who runs back to the 40-yard, the 50, and you send out Kenny Pickett. So you might be starting these two different players at different points of the field. And that to me is a big difference. If you're starting at the 5-yard, so then you are starting at the 50. So I'm just keen to see if he's comfortable. I want to see if Kenny Pickett is going through his checks, because you can see it if the line does a false start or motion, or can Kenny Pickett command the huddle? That's what I want to see. If he can command the huddle, slow things down, slow time down, get into his cadence, into his rhythm, go through his progressions, and be the NFL quarterback that he can be in the future. That's what I want to see. Now, if he throws a bad pass and gets picked off, what do you do? But you look at the positives and go, well, he got the line together, he got the plays, he saw the play, and then maybe he can learn from his failures, right? This is a perfect idea to have a good rookie quarterback like Kenny Pickett and grow into his role with the Steelers. They don't have to force him out there like I brought him up the other day with you. I think we're offline. I said, why didn't they start Trevor Lawrence in the Hall of Fame game? The guy hasn't done anything. He needs more reps. And they sat him. He's playing this week, Trevor Lawrence. Zach Wilson is playing. These second-year quarterbacks were the worst, and they were just fed to the wolves. And Lawrence was the highest. Got 16 interceptions. Does he allow himself to have a game off? I just don't understand it. Like, you should be going out there playing all the time. If you're that young, until you're about 25, 26, or 4 years into the league, I think you should be getting every rep you can get. Even Trubisky now is getting the reps at the start of the preseason. He probably will until the third game. And even the third game, we haven't seen this yet with our quarterbacks. We haven't seen what happens without Ben. They could play Trubisky all 3 games for a short amount of time, because we have not seen that the Steelers do this kind of way, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think they're going to play all the quarterbacks every game? And will they even play Chris Oladukin? Are they playing him?
Well, he's not been mentioned. I think that he'll get some reps in the final game against the Lions when they pull the majority of the starters, and the starters won't play very much or at all in that final preseason game because they won't want to risk them getting injured 2 weeks away from obviously the first game against the Bungles. But Mark, Mark, question for you: do you think that in an ideal world, then the Steelers follow very much a Kansas City type approach to this, and they sit Pickett like the Chiefs did with Mahomes behind Alex Smith? That is the ideal scenario this year, that Pickett sits for a year behind Trubisky or behind Rudolph.
Well, it's not going to hurt. If you can start Trubisky and Trubisky plays well and the team is winning, and you can let Kenny Pickett learn the system and become customized to the NFL, like I just said with Trevor Lawrence, they threw him to the Wolves, number 1 overall, right?
Yeah.
He got 10 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, and it's so many quarterbacks, like even that Josh Rosen guy, Josh Rosen, he got thrown to the Wolves too.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that. I don't mind that Trubisky can play, because to me, this offense is play action, motion, but it's getting the ball to Najee and getting the ball to Freiermuth. And then our defense can hold the team, put them in a good position to win. So I don't mind that. Like, some will say, well, Kenny Pickett should come in at week 10. Should he? What has he done? He hasn't done anything to come into week 10, right? It's Trubisky's job to lose, but if he can be successful, there's probably a reason why you have him for 2 years, right? And if he does his thing, wins playoff games, great. And get Pickett ready. And when it's Pickett's time, maybe that offense goes from, maybe a B plus to an A minus or an A, because you have Pickens there, and they're still customizing to the offense too. So I'm not against it. Like, I'm not against holding off Pickett that long, to be honest.
No, I 100% agree, and I think you look at that Kansas City way of doing things. Alex Smith was a very solid quarterback. He was never going to win you a Super Bowl. He was never going to win a boatload of playoff games as he didn't in San Francisco with some very talented players that he had in San Francisco. But Smith was solid, and that's very much what Trubisky is like. And that year did Patrick Mahomes the world of good. And Patrick Mahomes, when he first started at Kansas City Chiefs fans called him a bust, called him a waste of a pick. Because he struggled at the start of in his first ever training camp. He struggled. He threw lots of interceptions. He made lots of mistakes. He tried to run with the ball too much. He made a lot of errors. And if you go back and watch preseason games, apparently, so I've been told from when Mahomes played, he made a lot of mistakes. Now look at him. And I'm not saying that Kenny Pickett is the next coming of Patrick Mahomes, but having that year helped Mahomes. And I just feel that now, looking at it, having a year for Pickett sitting behind someone to learn will do him a world of good.
I'll do a really cheap and poor analogy, and this has nothing to do with football, but it kind of makes sense. When I was a bartender, right, and I was training to be a bartender, in my mind, I thought I was the best bartender. Yes, I could pour a beer, right? I could pour a beer to anyone, and I was, in my first few days, I could do the Tuesday, Wednesday shift. But there was no way I could do a Friday shift the way that the veterans do it, right? This is different. It's so different to college. Even though if Kenny Pickett looks ready and does excel, it's different being in the spotlight. And I think you and I have talked about it before. If the Steelers send Kenny Pickett to the Bengals, it's going to be a hard game. Imagine if he gets thrown about for like the first few drives, and then we're on the back foot, and then the Bengals go up and down the field, winning 10-0, 14-0, right? What do you do then? Can Kenny Pickett come back to win that game? Probably not. But if you send in a veteran like Trubisky, who's been there, understands the football game a lot more than Pickett does, then to me, you're in a better position. So we have to just relax a little bit and not be too gung-ho about we need to get on Pickett. Pickett's the only answer. I trust in the Steelers organization. Now, I was against bringing in Trubisky because I didn't know too much about him. But over the last few weeks of training camp and the interviews and stuff like that, I think he's got a chance that we can at least be a good quarterback and not have some poor quarterback play. Let Kenny sit, and that is not a bad thing at all. Is it not? Like just let him sit and learn the offense. How hard would it be
100%.
to actually go into from college? And how old is Kenny Pickett? 23?
24.
24. Okay, so he's old. He's a bit older than I thought. But
Because
still,
he was 5 years at Pitt, wasn't he? So
yeah. But still, it's a lot of football he's played, and you want him to go and command the new Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Nah, I would rather see a more experienced veteran like Trubisky and take less reps and feed the ball to Najee. But we've talked 20 minutes about quarterback, so let's move into some running back talk, and then we'll finish with some defense for the last 10 minutes. What are your thoughts about? Look, I don't know about you. I don't really want to talk about Najee Harris because he's a star. But what are your thoughts about running back two? Who you got?
There's two players I'm really excited to see on Saturday play, and that is Ant Mack, who I've heard a lot of very good things about from training camp. You know, him breaking big runs, him catching screen passes and bursting out for big yardage gains. And I really am excited to see Jaylen Warren play. Jaylen Warren apparently has had another fantastic practice today. He apparently ripped off a 71-yard run from breaking tackles. So Warren and Ant Mack, I'm really looking forward to seeing on Saturday and seeing how they acquit themselves in a game. And, you know, having Ant Mack finally fit for a change, and hopefully he keeps that fitness. Perhaps we can actually see that potential that he came out of Maryland with, that quick change of pace. That's what I would really like to see on Saturday. Mark, what would you like to see?
Well, what I've been reading as well in the interviews I see from Steelers and stuff like that, and even your thoughts too, isn't Jaylen Warren meant to be that bowling ball? Apparently a bit Bus. Is that their idea? If we have a guy that goes north and south, runs over people, this is probably a good one too, because can he push RB2 in his favor for Jaylen Warren? And then how many running backs do they take on the roster? I still think Snell might be there. I think McFarland might be there. But maybe they add one more like a Jaylen Warren, and that's 4. Plus what, right? It could be 5. I don't know. How many running backs do you think they have?
Well, last year they had 4, didn't they? They took, obviously, Najee, Snell, McFarland, and Ballage. You can see a probably very similar number this year as them taking... I think Snell has done enough. I think he's looked better this year. He's looked more focused. He's taken it a lot more seriously this year. And obviously, the guy's going into a contract year as well. This is his last year of his rookie deal. So he'll probably make it. Plus, if obviously the special teams and the fact that obviously we've lost a number of players from the special teams, like UG3, for example.
Yeah,
he'll make it. I think Ant Mack, if he continues at his present rate, the way he's doing in practice, he'll make it. And Coach Tomlin seems very positive about Jaylen Warren, so I can't see any reason why Warren wouldn't make it either.
Does that mean that I guess Derek Watt will make it as well, and then Connor Hayward looks to be third, right? So if we have 4 running backs, and I guess Benny Snell and Jaylen Warren would be similar, right? Depending how you get playing time. And it depends also who's going to wear a hat on Sunday too.
Yeah.
Right. They may make Jaylen Warren a healthy scratch, but keep him on the 53. Depending, I still want to see what this offense can do with like a Hayward too. I heard some good things about Hayward, how he's moving around the field, and you put him in the halfback set. And could he be a fullback? Could he be, on the line where he runs out and grabs a pass?
Yeah,
I'm intrigued about that. But I think this year is a little bit different. I think we know what we have with Snell, and I've heard good reports too that he is getting better, and Tomlin does like him. And now with the I can't think of the word. Subtraction of UG3 and the injury he's done. And look, shout out to UG3, man. He's off and on this roster all the time. Yes, he didn't play the best in spurts, but he's always off and on. So he was around the ball. But Snell might be there, and then Warren may play some snaps, but I don't know how many snaps, because how much responsibility do you give to Warren, in the big game, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that? Do you give him a lot of carries in the real game, or do you let McFarland and Snell have a go?
I think a lot will depend what we see in this preseason, to be honest with you, from Warren. If Warren comes out and lights it up in this first game against the Seahawks and then lights it up again against the Jags, I think there's a good chance that he could easily sneak his way in to RB2, RB3, and Snell could be moved down basically based on his special teams and be there purely for the special teams element of his game, the same way that Ant Mack is very good at special teams as well. But yeah, it very much depends on live action, what we see in actual live game action. And I think what the problem is, at training camp, you see Steelers versus Steelers, and the players know each other. They know what's coming. They know the plays. They know everything. They know it inside out. But it's what we see now in actual live game action against a team that doesn't know you inside out, that doesn't know what you're going to bring on a game day, and what he can actually reproduce against the Seahawks and then say against the Jags and also probably against the Lions as well, because I can see him playing in all 3 games.
I just lost a train of thought there. I was just getting far too in front of what I was going to say. But let's stick with some more running back stuff. So if Jaylen Warren can play with the Steelers, right? If he starts to excel, does that release a bit of pressure on Najee Harris?
100%. Yeah, that's what we're looking for, because at the end of the day, I think, and Steelers fans are very realistic about this. I think probably you know what? I think this may be a stupid comment, but probably more realistic than the coaching staff in terms of the fact that they understand that Najee Harris cannot carry the ball 381 times this season, because or else you're going to be facing a situation where he is more likely to get injured. He is more likely to be out. And the moment he starts getting injured, that is when you then start a spiral. Derrick Henry, for the first time in a number of seasons, was injured last year. Look for Henry now to miss a lot more games, because it's proven that once a running back gets an injury, that's when there's a weakness. That's when they start to get injured more. And that's not what we want from Harris. If Harris is going to have a full 5 years at this and be the superstar that we know he can be, and then get that second contract that a number of running backs haven't had, he has to stay healthy. And the only way of keeping him healthy is by finding someone who can come in and carry the ball 10 to 15 times a game and sub him and give him a break. Because if he carries it 380, 400 times this year, he is going to get worn and he's going to get injured.
I got a question here from Gene Smith. Says, I like Mark's comments on the other video. To be honest, I don't remember what I said.
On Derek, what?
Does it ever get like that? You know, when you and I are doing videos every day on Britsburgh, Owen, or Steel Nation Australia, does it ever get like that, Owen, where you forget what you're saying?
Yeah,
I do all the time, man.
I forget what platform as well. What I said it on, whether I said it on, whether I said it on Britsburgh Going, or whether I said it on Britsburgh NFL, or what I said it on, or whether I just wrote it on Facebook, or wrote it on Twitter, or wrote it on Instagram. It's just like, where did I say it?
It's funny because obviously we have this co-host venture doing the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. It's you and me, and with our mate Derek helping us in the background, like our producer or whatever, right? So we're doing this together, and then we do on our own individual channels. So check us out on our individual. But most of you guys in the chat already know. So we have, but I do forget as well. Like, did I say that on Steel Nation Australia? Did I say that on Syndicate?
Yeah.
We've got a few more minutes. Any more comments on the running back? And then we'll move into one last point, which will be, I think we'll talk about the linebackers. Any more comments on the running backs? I'm so excited, dude. If I can see, I think a fresh face to help out Najee Harris, like the DeAndre Williams used to do for Bell, then this team has got another level to it. If we get Warren or Snell in action and take pressure off Najee Harris, then teams forget about Najee Harris. Then they've got to focus on another guy. The second guy who can get the 10 to 15 carries or 14 carries a game. I would love to see the Steelers run the ball 40 times a game and pass 20, right? That's 60 plays. And who do you give the ball to? You give them to the McFarland, you give it to Warren or Snell, and you give it to Najee Harris. And you run all day. Offensive linemen, I would say, would rather like to go forward than they would rather go back. Any more comments on RB2?
I just want to see someone come in and make a difference and actually break off some plays that make a difference to the team, and actually where you actually say, yeah, that was a good run, and not okay, oh, it's him. All right, let's just not bother handing the ball to him. And you know, I'm excited to see Jaylen Warren. I'm excited to also see Matteo Durant, what he can bring as well. You know, if you think back across the Steelers' history, we've had some pretty good undrafted free agents that have gone on to be superstars. I mean, I don't know whether you remember, Mark, but a certain running back who was an undrafted free agent who broke that big, massive run in a Super Bowl, Willie Parker. Willie Parker was an undrafted free agent, wasn't he?
Great.
He was a UDFA. And yet he came in and is arguably one of the best running backs in Steelers history. And that guy was an undrafted free agent. And you've got to hope that one of Warren or Durant can come in and have a similar effect as Parker had.
Yeah, Parker was amazing. We also have here, we're almost near the end of the show, but one more topic to get through, which is going to be the linebackers. It's going to be fun to talk about that. But we have, from memory, Andrew from Melbourne. Melbourne got it right this time. So let's talk about some linebackers. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with middle linebacker there and figure out who's what? Because that's a big piece in this game. Devin Bush or Spillane. What are your thoughts on what's going on?
I think it was good to hear. I think Tomlin referred to Jerry O saying that he's looking for a leader, someone to emerge in that inside linebacker. And Tomlin said it doesn't worry him because there's lots of leaders there. But yeah, I'm looking forward with a little bit of trepidation to see what Bush does, because there are so many mixed reports coming out of training camp about Devin Bush. I nearly called him George Bush there. About Devin Bush. You hear TJ Watt talking very positively about him, and whether that's just a teammate trying to big up another teammate, I don't know. But then you hear some journalists saying that he has been awful, yet you hear some other journalists saying that he is developing and getting better and more with it every single day. It's just going to be interesting to see in an actual game what he can bring.
Yeah, it's funny too, and you brought up George Bush. Wouldn't it be funny to see a football, a game where it's all the presidents, like 22 each side? That'd be kind of fun to do that. I can only name a few. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and actually we could probably name a few more than some Americans. Not our great live chat, but
bring
some
back
Americans.
Roosevelt next.
Hey.
Bring back Roosevelt next. There's Teddy and Dwight.
Well, that's it, right? He was our fullback. He was a great fullback too.
Yeah.
But hey, look, for me, linebacker, I'm excited to see. I guess the anticipation now is pretty high because Bush and Spillane on the same one, right? But how are they going to play differently? Like, will Bush actually go in there and tackle? I think there's a lot of pressure on him now this year. Definitely. It's like, man, it was so much hype and he was doing so many good things. Then he got injured. Ever since the injury, he hasn't been the same. He has not been the same, and he probably even knows that. Also, if Spillane's in there, can he pair well with Miles Jack? Will Miles Jack even play? Do you think Miles Jack will play?
I think he will, yeah. I think we'll see.
Two series, two drives?
I think, like Mike Tomlin said, we'll see them for the first quarter. You'll see the first teamers for the first quarter. I think you'll see obviously Daniels, you'll see Cole, you'll see Miles Jack, Levi Wallace, a number. Although Wallace might not play, given the fact that he's been out ill for quite a while. Although he has been playing, taking part in the last few practices, so it'll be interesting to see if he plays. But yeah, I think you will see Jack, because Jack's been fully involved for the whole time with OTAs and minicamp and also training camp.
Got a quick question here from Gene Smith, one of our great fans here of the show and in our individual work too. Middle is my question. Not too sure what that means, but can Minka do a Troy this year?
Yeah, I think he means obviously middle linebacker is a big question for him. Who's going to play alongside Jack?
It is true. It is a big question, really. Like, I don't know.
Although I tell you, I would love it, Mark, if Khan went out and sent a big signal to the rest of the AFC North and the NFL and got Roquan Smith from the Bears.
Well, that would be the ultimate move, because he's a beast, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he is an absolute.
If they went and got another 5-star middle linebacker, this defense you wouldn't want to verse anyone.
No, I mean, I was listening to our good mate Matty Peverill talk about comparing him, Devin Bush, and is it Levante David? I think it was, from Tampa Bay, and Roquan Smith's sack numbers and his tackles for a loss numbers stand up well against anybody. He is an absolute beast of a linebacker.
George says here, could they afford him? So with my final question, because we do have to get on out of here soon, but I guess let's leave this a hanging question for the next week. So I got two more questions. Can we even afford him? Is it a possibility that we get Roquan Smith, or is it just a rumor?
If the deal, I can see it being done. I mean, the cap hit is $9.3 million. That's what his contract's worth in this final year, $9.3 million. It's what he's looking for in the future that may handicap the deal. because he's looking for big money. He's looking for linebacker, linebacker one type money. And then would that sacrifice Jack, say? But then I think if they go and get Smith, then that's the end of Bush. You are not going to see Bush back in black and gold next season. But yeah, I think they could afford him this season for certain. But whether it would be a 1-year rental or whether it would be a long-term thing, I don't know. But yeah, I think they certainly could afford him. It's whether they could put the trade package together for him. That's the big thing. People have talked about it being a player plus a mid-round draft pick to the Bears for Roquan Smith. That's what they'd be looking for.
It'd be quite exciting if they brought him in. That to me would be like the ultimate, just one of the best moves ever, right? And then everything in a neat little bow. Devin Bush would be obviously probably back up that season or this season and see what happens next year. But any final thoughts with this game? We have another video coming out very soon to pump you guys up. It's only gonna be a short one, but what are you keen about? I'm so excited. Football's back today. It's like now. There's the Giants versus New England playing right now, and then Ravens Titans. Are you happy that football's back?
100%. I just can't wait to actually see some proper Steelers football. I mean, it was January the last time we saw them play and go out with a bit of a whimper against KC.
It was Big Ben and a whole different team.
Yeah,
a whole different team. The team has changed.
Think about that team that played that day. Juju's gone. Ray McLeod's gone. Trey Turner's gone. Ben's gone. Washington's gone. The changeover is huge. The line is going to be so different with Cole in center. You're probably going to have, you're going to have James Daniels at right guard. You're going to have a new quarterback. You're going to have a different running back because Najee's not going to play probably. You've got two receivers who are just unbelievably good in Cal Austin and George Pickens. It's a vastly different team than we saw back in January against the Kansas City Chiefs.
It is a complete different team. It actually is like, it's quite promising that, yes, we lost that, but even if we go to the playoffs this year, I think we have a better chance to win than last year. All right. But we're done for today, guys. We are done. Thank you everyone for checking out Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. I don't know what I'm saying. Owen, thanks, Owen.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for waking up.
That's it. I'm just so excited because it's from last year. It's like, whoa, and this year it's like we have Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, and these guys are going to go out there and play. The running back too. Oh.
Do you know, Steeler Nation? I don't. You know what? I don't know how Mark does it. Mark's just waking up, right? It's like it's like morning, and literally this guy's only just got up. I honestly, I'm not just saying this blowing smoke at Mark's whatever, but I could not do what he does. I could not wake up and then come on here and talk. I just couldn't do it. I'm like,
well, it is funny because I pretty much do all my work for anything I do with the Steelers about 8 a.m. So it's everything is 8 a.m. for me. So it's waking up at 7 and then talk football and then the rest of the day. But yeah, I probably couldn't do it the opposite way. You what 11 p.m. are you? 12?
It's midnight now, just 5.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So
Mark, Gene says eat some breakfast. He's going to go eat his steak for dinner.
Oh, I need to get some breakfast and then I'm streaming the Titans versus Ravens, and Ravens are going to lose. But anyways, actually they won't lose. They're the preseason kings. But yeah, thanks. They won 20 games in a row.
They haven't lost in like 20, 24 games, have they? They're the preseason champs, man. They're better than the Browns.
And nothing else. All right, thanks guys for checking out the Steel Syndicate Podcast. Always, it's fun. It's so much fun every time doing this with Owen. I think we're getting really to the point now. It's like we get to see a football game in 2 days' time. We will be doing a post-game show, or a live knee-jerk reactions after the game. So it will be like Owen's like 4 a.m. because he's crazy, and there'll be my like 12 or something. So
and then I'm at work at 6 a.m.
This guy, where is he? This guy doesn't stop. So we will be there. I've told Owen he doesn't have to come on, but we'll see if he comes on for a little bit. We'll do a quick 15-minute post-game show. It's going to be fantastic.
That's more important, man.
It's hard, isn't it? It gets in your head. You're like, I'm looking here, looking down here. I'm like, where am I? No, I can't wait for a post-game and talk about exactly the same thing, but what happened. So thanks, guys, for checking out the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate and the Steel Syndicate Podcast. We'll see you later. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.